Sportsline Podcast on the CHCH multimedia platform. Happy Canada Day, folks. I'm Bubba O'Neil. You know, we're going to depart from our regular interview format for what I will describe as a therapy post-game show. On Sunday night, the Ticats were defeated 24-22 on the last play of the game by the Ottawa Redblacks in the nation's capital, dropping them to 0 wins and 4 losses. Now, to help us get through this difficult time for the Ticats and their fan base is the host of the fifth quarter post-game program. You know him, you love him from the morning show. Sports News, he does it all. CHML's Rick Zamperin. Ricky, how are you? Happy Canada Day.
Bubba, same to you. Happy Canada Day to one and all. And I wish we were meeting under better circumstances today.
It doesn't feel good. First of all, it doesn't feel good, doesn't it?
You know what? If you're a Ticats fan, we heard from many Ticats fans on the show Sunday night on 900 CHML, and wow, there's a level of anger, frustration, indifference, pure mind-boggling, what the heck is going on feeling in this city right now, that it's been years in the making. We know that the Grey Cup drought for this franchise is 25 years and maybe counting it after the end of this season. There is this fan base that they're diehard Ticats fans, but they are in a spot that they haven't been in a long time, and that is the indifference category, and that's not where you want your fan base to be in.
No, it certainly isn't, and that's what I felt like I had to reach out to you to get you on the program today. Again, thank you for joining us on Canada Day. I know you had the day off, but and to talk about something that really is just really firing so many people up at this point right now, as you said, whether they're upset, whether they're disappointed, whether they're disgruntled, or just straight out depressed. I mean, and both of us could contribute on to the Tiger Cats. I'm on the broadcast as well too, but I got to call this fair and square. Right? Like, this is not a good start. And you take a look at what past history has been for the Tiger Cats as we look over a board that's going to display what they've done over the last couple of years. And, unacceptable? Is that fair to say? Am I wrong to say that, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can have one or maybe two of those years, but I mean, look at that. That is disgusting. That screams, what the heck is going on? Like, is this team ready at the start of the season? What are the factors that go into each and every of these offers? And listen, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We had years in which this team was 0-6, 0-8. By Labor Day, 1-8 at best. Like, I've never seen a franchise in a 9-team league in its year after year after year, save for one season, 2019, in which they blew everyone out of the water and were 15-3, and we were thinking, wow, is this the new Ticats era? Nope. Post-pandemic, it's right back to where they were. It is indescribable, the amount of heart-wrenching, gut-punching, kick in the you-know-where kind of losses that this team has endured at the start of a season for a number of seasons. I can't put my finger on it.
And the thing is, people were crying for new offensive coordinators, new coaches, new presidents, general. That actually happened, right? This is a new Ticat team. There's new players. There's a new offensive coordinator and head coach. Yet the trend continues. And you're right in saying this, in a 9-team league, Rick. Like, this is the Canadian Football League where you can actually still make the playoffs after some of those starts that we just displayed. It's been the truth. I mean, some of those teams have made the playoffs. In fact, all of them have made the playoffs. And they're kind of fortunate in that sense, because had this been an equivalent for the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, if you kind of levied it all out, those teams, for the most part, would not be making the playoffs. And that's not a good situation.
Yeah, in the CFL, you only need really 3 other teams to be worse than you. And, you look at the West Division, there's 2 right there. Both Edmonton and Winnipeg are both 0-4. Ottawa 2-1. With the win Sunday night against Hamilton, already has, the season series edge. They'll play twice more. But, you look at the East Division, Toronto, I thought, was going to be way worse than what they've shown with, the Chad Kelly situation. They lost a number of free agents, but, they've played pretty well. Montreal's on another level. Like, I don't think there's a team out there that is at the Alouettes level right now. They've won their last 11 games, including the Grey Cup. That's a team that may be uncatchable already for the Tiger Cats, and probably is. And then out west, you look at the competition out there. BC's coming to town in a week. Saskatchewan's undefeated, has already beaten Hamilton twice. Calgary looks, okay. And then you have, the other two teams that are going to be fighting for that last playoff spot. The Ticats, again, at the start of the season, are looking way up at the competition, and they got to find a way coming up against the Lions. And then, they have a gauntlet coming up against other opponents in which they have to win.
And you talked about the fact that 2019 was such a marvelous, good feeling. You look back, even though there was a Grey Cup loss, it set what we would all believe was going to be the standard of a new Ticat team of being a winning franchise. I heard one of your callers say laughing stock. I mean that's their opinion. I'm baffled by the fact that there are other teams in the league, like the Argonauts. It's like they get bad and then they return to win a Grey Cup. It's like this weird pattern. But you go back to the fact, and you said this off the top, no Grey Cup since 1999. I brought this up earlier in the fact that during the 99 celebration in the home opener, that Mike Morreale said on the halftime show on the Ticats Audio Network that it's okay now that we don't have to be the last team to have won the Grey Cup. Mm-hmm. Because even he, who's, a basketball guy, but still loves and bleeds black and gold, wants to see a team win a Grey Cup. Just give these fans what they so desperately need.
Yeah, I think more than everything, they, guys like Morreale, Danny McManus, Paul Osbaldiston, a lot of the guys who were there for that 25th anniversary celebration honoring that last Grey Cup championship in Hamilton. And I think all of them, for the fans, they want, another Grey Cup celebration. And I'm sure they love being honored and, returning to the donut box and, mingling with the fans, whether it's pregame or halftime or postgame, and signing autographs. I mean, that's awesome. That's part of being a Canadian Football League player. But I think they want to hand the baton off, and they want this city to celebrate again. And it just seems so into the future that might happen. Because it hasn't happened in 25 years. And, some of the words that we heard on the fifth quarter on Sunday night were terrible. They suck. They got to give it together. You mentioned laughingstock. That was another one. They don't have it. Back to the drawing board. Fire this person. Change that person. We need better players. At the end of the day, fans are frustrated. And I think they're beyond the point, as I said earlier, beyond the point of anger. And I think if you have an angry fan base, that's okay, right? Because that they care. They want to see this team kind of fight through the doldrums that they're in. Certainly you want a happy fan base because that means you're winning. But if you have an indifferent fan base, that's a problem, because now, and we heard it on the show too, that, listen, I'm not going to go to the next few games, or I'm not renewing my season's tickets, or, that's it, I've had it, I'm not going back. And, frankly, some of those people were probably so frustrated they just blurted out, and they'll be back. But some of them might not. And I think as a sports organization, a professional sports organization, that's the last thing you want to hear from your fan base. Yeah, they are angry, but that indifference, that cuts like a hot knife through butter. That's the last thing you want to hear.
Well, Rick, just so, our listeners and our viewers, not that you were fibbing, that you were blowing this out of proportion, I had to just, let's give you a sample, folks, of what Tiger Town are saying on the fifth quarter on 900 CHML.
The reason why Hamilton fans are so cynical is because we haven't seen a championship in a quarter of a century, and we are tired of it. And I wanted to start showing in the stands.
Look how fast Jason Moss went to Montreal and turned it around there. Like, we're the laughing stock of the CFL. We steal 3 players from Toronto. Look, Toronto lost about 6 or 7 starters, plus their defensive coordinator. And look, Toronto's going to come and just embarrass us, kick the crap out of us in 2 weeks from now. I just don't care anymore.
The Tiger Cats don't know how to win, Rick. They just don't know how to win. They know how to lose. And I think this is going to be a terribly long season. I don't see any improvements coming.
This year's a rebuild. They're not going anywhere this year. There will not be a playoff game for Hamilton this year. We'll be lucky
not at this rate.
We will be lucky if we don't finish dead last in the league.
You know, Rick, you listen to the passionate fan base of any hockey team, football team, baseball team. The Jays are going through some tough times right now. And you sometimes get the fans that are just over the top, right? I mean, you've been doing this for over a decade. You know exactly what I'm talking about here. But when this becomes kind of a repeating sort of theme, there has to be concern.
Yeah, and I think it's a long, slow burn, right? This isn't 1 or 2 years of, this team underachieving or just, losing those heartbreakers or just not playing well, period. This is, by and large, 25 years of frustration of seeing this team start, as I mentioned, 0-4, 0-6, 0-8, finishing 3-15, going 6-12. There's been some successes, right? Like 10-8, the 15-3 was just, one of those amazing years that ended in, Grey Cup heartbreak again. So there's been some successes. There's been some all-star players. There's been a lot to cheer about. Tim Hortons Field celebrating its 10th anniversary. It's been a, great revelation for football fans in this city. It's an awesome place to watch a game. But when the product is not delivering its side of the equation, that frustration that has been percolating for 2 decades now, plus, this fan base has hit a wall. It's smacking its forehead against the wall and just kind of trying to figure out how to help this team by firing guys or trading guys or drafting better or whatever the case is. They're at their wits' end. I think that's the fairest statement I can make.
The thing is with the Ottawa Red Blacks, it's been the safe space for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, because in some of those bad starts, it's always been corrected with a win against Ottawa, and that didn't happen last night. First things first, did you see some positives that this team can build on?
Yeah, certainly did. I think first and foremost, I think Bo Levi Mitchell has had a pretty good start to the campaign. Aside from the game in Saskatchewan in which, they fell behind, I thought he was doing a little too much. That game kind of got away from them. But this team could easily be, and this is nowhere to the line, I really wholeheartedly believe this. I think this team could be 2-2. I think they could have won, at home against the Rough Riders. They probably should have won. It was 30-20 in the fourth quarter. And last night, too, with better game management, and if they made a couple more big plays in that fourth quarter, they probably should have won in Ottawa last night. And so at best, they're 2-2. At worst, I think we're seeing it now. Tim White, I think, finally had his best game easily of the season. That's a big plus. The defense remains a huge question mark, and I said this at the start of the season. So many new players on this defense. They have 3 starters basically from last year. Gone is Simone Lawrence, gone is Ted Laurent, a number of other, Javon Santos-Knox, Tunde Adeleke. So much talent has gone out the door. And bringing in so many not only new players, but new CFLers, I knew it was going to be at least a month for this defense to kind of gain traction. And the game in Hamilton against BC in just 6 days from now is going to be that 1 month mark. Has the defense made enough progress in my mind? No. Are they still trying to test guys in different positions? Yeah, we obviously saw that against the Red Blacks last night. This D has a long way to go. Special teams has left a lot to be desired. Apart from Mark Leggio and, our new punter, the return game has been non-existent. The blocking schemes have not worked, and they're not getting to the opposing returners. There's a lot to be worked on. And, if they can do it sooner rather than later, that would be nice.
Well, let's look at what the schedule is. And I think, as I said, I'm going to use Ottawa again as the team where the Tiger Cats, I think, will be chasing, because the Argonauts look solid, and obviously the Montreal Alouettes look to me to be the cream of the crop in the Canadian Football League, at least through the first 5 weeks of the regular season. Rick, when you look at this schedule, we have a lot of fun in the media going win, loss, win, loss. And fans do the same thing too, what you're imagining. And there's always sometimes some disappointments and sometimes some shocking wins out of that. But when you look at what the Red Blacks have in terms of their schedule and what the Tiger Cats have, I would have to say that the level of difficulty for the Tiger Cats, I'm not quite sure where that first win's going to come.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that's a gauntlet, right? BC's playing well; they're 3-1. They're coming off a bye week, and then they got to face the Argos. That's going to be Toronto's always tough, and they've played some pretty good football this year. At Edmonton, you're on the road. Whenever you go on the road, it is a tough task to get a W, and then back to back against the defending champs. Can they find a win? Maybe 2 in there. Maybe. You look at the other side of the equation in Ottawa. They have Edmonton, Winnipeg in 3 consecutive weeks. Those teams haven't found a win yet. They're still trying to discover the magic formula like Hamilton has to get into the win column. If Hamilton can't find a victory or 2 in the next 4 to 6 games, and Ottawa and Toronto continue to win, this team could be 8-10 points out of 3rd or 2nd place. Not a good spot to be in, even weeks before Labor Day.
I mean, it's been a long time where we have gone into a season at Labor Day and thought to ourselves, as long as they win the Labor Day game, that's all that matters.
Listen, I heard that last night. I heard on one guy called in and he said, listen, as long as we beat the Argos on Labor Day, I'm okay.
If that's the standard that we're setting right now, it's, again, you and I know this to be true, right? Part of the media in Hamilton, as I said, I'm part of the Ticats broadcast proudly. I've been called names. I've seen it on social media. Bubba, you're letting up easy on them. You're a homer. I take it all, right, for the team in its own little way, right? But it's going to be real difficult to not ask questions of where this team is going, what their plans are going forward. Will they sell off players? That's looking much farther down the road, but where we are right now is in a comfortable place. We're kind of used to it. I don't like being used to being an 0-4. And Rick Zamperin, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your sort of thoughts. And again, I wouldn't have bothered you on a holiday, but really hearing your 5th quarter program was different than every other show I've heard, at least for the last couple of years. So I don't know what to say. It's because I don't know what's coming up, and it's like I hope this team shocks and amazes us. That's all we can really hope for.
Well, I appreciate the invite, yes, and let's hope the next time that we're together, we're talking about this resurgent Ticats franchise, and they're going all the way. That would be a wonderful sentiment, but as you and I both know, there's a lot of work to do. So good luck to them.
Hey, right, Rick. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you soon. Folks, that's your Sportsline podcast for the day. And as you've just seen and heard, we love talking sports, win or lose. If you do know of an athlete, team, or event to promote the Sportsline podcast, do want to hear from you. Please hit that thumbs up, like, and subscribe button. And if you do have something to say, please comment. For the wonderful people that make the Sportsline podcast possible, thank you so very much. Oski wee wee. We'll see you tomorrow.